12 months after suffering serious storm damage to the course, Dunbar Golf Club was ready once again to host the Scottish Boys Championship, something that it's been used to doing over the years, as head pro Jackie Montgomery explains.
Well, we've hosted the Scottish Boys Championship 19 times now. It's a great event. The members are tremendously supportive. They look forward to it. They come out, they support as volunteers. I think what's important to them is that their golf course, which they're very proud of, gets represented well. The boys go away with fond memories, and memories they'll cherish. If these guys become successful players on European Tour, on the big stage, then they'll look back and think, we started it off there as, young amateurs going round Dunbar, and I think the press coverage that the event gets as well, keeps us to the forefront of Scottish golf, and we enjoy being a part of it.
The written press in Scotland has always given extensive coverage to this tournament, as was the case once again this year. And with 256 competitors looking to star on the back pages, Jackie tells us what they can expect from the course, which is now fully back to its best, and where he thinks they're going to have to score if they want to progress.
Outward 9 is the birdie opportunities. You've got par 5s, there's 3 par 5s in outward 9. There's scoring opportunities there, but when we turn for home, particularly once you've played the par 3 10th, you're basically heading back into the wind, and we've probably got the strongest inward 9 in Scotland in terms of making par. So I think any of the boys who can, score close to par in the inward 9 this week will be up there come Saturday.
One young man with a proven track record in this tournament, hoping to make it to Saturday, last year's champion Grant Forrest. His opponent in the 4th round, though, was young Craig Ross, who had already won the Champion of Champions this year up at the Dukes in St Andrews. And taking confidence from that victory, he had Forrest on the back foot almost straight away. Here on the par 5 second, Forrest had this putt to get his 5 after finding trouble down the right hand side. A nice putt there from Grant, showing his class. But unfortunately for him, he was to be well beaten by Craig Ross, his attacking style of play reaping dividends. This tap-in birdie 4, one of many birdies he had out in the course. But it says a lot for Grant that he was still willing to speak to the cameras after such a heavy defeat.
It was just one of those days where it went badly for me and well for him, and he just played better than me on the day. Today my short game just couldn't save me, because Craig was playing too well.
So disappointment today, but what about the future?
I'm going to the University of San Diego. I've known that since about November, so I'm just looking forward to it more and more as it comes closer.
And as for Craig, well, he made it through to the last 16 for the first time in this tournament, and seems to be enjoying his golf more than ever this year.
So I felt, when I came into this tournament, I felt good, I felt my game was good, and just decided to, I like match play, so I like to be aggressive. So I tried, that's what I was doing today in the past few games, so that's what I was trying to do.
Unfortunately for Craig, he was to fall at the next hurdle in his last 16 match. You know you're in trouble when you birdie the first and still lose the hole. Indeed, he went out to a young man up from Lincoln who was threatening to be the story of the tournament, Connor Marsland, who, despite being a relative newcomer to the challenges of links golf, made it all the way through to the quarter-finals, beating Craig on the way. Another golfer who was far more used to the tests of links golf coming from St Andrews was Ben Kingsley. His game well suited to the windy links at Dunbar, he made it all the way through to the semi-finals this year. But of course it's not just the wind and the links terrain that's the challenge here at Dunbar. The old Deer Park wall runs along much of the course. Something that John Scott from East Renfrewshire was all too aware of in his last 16 match against Anthony Blaney. And well, if you're going to make it in golf, you've got to be able to think on your feet. And John actually dropping from the path onto the nearest point of relief, no nearer the hole, which is that foot-wide little strip of grass. Well, he dropped, and a nice left-handed shot making it onto the green. His opponent, as I said, Anthony Blaney, well, he's got a good track record in this tournament. He made the last 16 down in West Kilbride last year. And this match catching the eye of, amongst others, Ian Ray, the national coach for the Scottish golf team. And it was a very tight affair. In fact, it came all the way down the 18th. And this long, difficult par 4 into the wind. Well, both players had similar length putts for their par 4. And Anthony knew that if that went in, well, that would have really put the pressure on John. But he picked it up, and all he could do was stand back, wait and watch. And John knew he had this opportunity to progress into the last 8. And that is a fantastic putt to win any match. And John Scott making it through to the quarterfinals, where his campaign for this year was to end. Indeed, it was Liam Johnson who beat John in the quarterfinals. And our camera's catching up with Liam earlier on in the week here. And well, while his international teammates were dropping like flies all around him, he kept his head down, kept things steady, and played some very nice golf as he progressed through the competition. Liam made the quarter-finals in the men's championship at Gullin last year, and as this nice birdie at the 6 shows, he obviously enjoys match play, links golf, and East Lothian. Former boys stroke play champion Jack MacDonald was another one of the fancied golfers this week, now a student at Stirling University. His opponent in the 4th round was Greg Marchbank. Greg had taken the lead in this match on the 2nd hole, a lead which he had kept and indeed grown throughout the round as he reached the 15th, and Greg had this rather lengthy putt to win the match. Well, it just ran close and it was safe, and that meant that Jack had to hold this if he was to keep his hopes alive of adding the match play title to his stroke play title that he won a couple of years ago. But the putt went wide and it was handshakes, and it was Greg who progressed through to the last 16. And indeed on into the quarterfinals, where he was eventually beaten by this young man, Callum Hill, the Scotland under-16 cap, enjoying an impressive run to the semi-finals this year. And of course a great advert for club golf, where he started his love affair with the game. And on now to the final on Saturday, where the two competitors fighting it out were David Wilson from Troon Welbeck and Dumfries County's Liam Johnston, both with one hand on the trophy. And it was a bright start from Johnston. His short game was very steady, as you can see here, rolling all his long putts nice and close, where Wilson struggled early on, especially with his putting. And there at the 5th, well, Liam took that hole to go 2 up. As the crowds headed out, well, it wasn't just his short game that Liam was excelling with. Here into a strong wind on the 460-yard 11th. Johnson finding the green in 2, and he knocked it in for his par, and that made him 5 up after 11, and things looking a little one-sided. Even when he was further away after a slightly wayward approach shot, Johnston would walk up very confident and steady with the putter and roll things. Well, if they weren't dropping, they were close, and they were gimmies. Even when he missed the green, like here on 14, he just chipped up, and the look on Wilson's face said it all. By this point, Liam Johnson was 7 up, and things looking pretty grim for the Ayrshire man. In fact, he went to 8 down after 15, but here on 16, knocking that in to get 1 back. And well, he wasn't beyond taking the mickey out of himself a little bit, doffing the cap to the crowds that were there, and perhaps just enjoying the chance to celebrate. As they went in at half time, it was still 6 up to Johnston. But as they came out in the afternoon, well, Wilson, he missed the green here in the par 3 third. But you could see that the short game had improved, and he managed to get a half there, although he did lose the 4th to go back down to 7. But stepping up in the par 3 5th, A beautiful tee shot. Perhaps signs of an improvement all round. He walked up onto the green and rolled this in for a birdie too. And well, that brought it back to 6, but still a long way to go, especially when Liam Johnson was still rolling in putts and forcing his opponent, well, just to hold some tricky putts, just to hang on. Halving there on the 7th. The score now down to 5 in it, and as we moved on to the 8th, Wilson holding a tremendous putt for a birdie. And indeed on the 9th he holed this for another birdie, his 4th in the front 9, as he made it to the turn in 4 under par with an outward 9 of 33, and by this point there was only 3 of a difference. And Liam Johnson must have wondered what was happening as he rolled in that putt on the 11th. He was still level par, but his lead had slipped to only 3. But it was here on the 17th, the 35th hole, where Wilson had missed the green with his approach, and that let Johnston, well, this was his first real chance to seal the victory. 2 putts from here would be enough to make him the Scottish Boys Champion for 2011, and perhaps really the first sign of nerves. He just rolled that a little bit too far past the hole to be comfortable, although David Wilson still had this putt to have any chance of taking the title. He rolled it in for his 3, and all of a sudden Johnston's putt looked just that little bit further away. This for the title, and as he rolled it past on the left hand side, unbelievably as we walked down the 18th, David Wilson had this short putt to take the match to sudden death playoff after being 8 down after 15 holes, and the crowd were being treated to real drama on the links here at Dunbar. As you can see, Wilson pushed his drive just a touch at the par 5 first, but a nice clean hit out the bunker, although with that strong wind helping, the ball rolling off the back of the green, and perhaps another chance for Johnston. He split the fairway with his drive, and a beautiful little wedge onto the green, and he had that putt for an eagle 3. And Wilson rolling on from the edge of the green, that meant that Johnson had this again for victory. Just missing there, that 12-15 foot putt, but it was good enough for a 4, and once again David Wilson with a must make putt, and he did it, showing real bottle and real class. Down the 38th we went, another par 5, the second hole here, and Johnston, well, that putt was for his par after knocking his approach through the green. And for the first time today, Johnson showing just a little bit of emotion. He knew that his opponent had 2 putts from here to take the title and complete a remarkable turnaround. A fantastic effort this afternoon from David Wilson with 6 birdies, the 2011 Scottish Boys Champion. But what was the difference between this morning and this afternoon's performance?
Putting, definitely. Towards the end of the first round I started striking the ball really well, but still just not holding any putts. And then I got a nice little putting lesson from the boy that I beat in the quarter-final, and I went out in the afternoon and just, it worked. Everything just seemed to be going in.
And those putts had to go in to make up ground on a very steady opponent.
Even in the second round, he never really gave me much. You know, every hole had to be won with a birdie, and I was expecting that as well. I wasn't expecting him to just start handing me holes. I felt kind of sorry for him on the 38th when he made a bogey there. It was just not like him.
It certainly wasn't a lead that was thrown away. Wilson had to play well, as Johnson was as steady as he had been all week.
I didn't think I was playing too bad myself. Just maybe a couple putts that were missed and a couple bad shots, hit too many tee shots in bunkers and things like that. But he was playing some good golf. He was holding a lot of good putts under the pressure. He made a few birdies as well, which is it's hard to match. You got to take the positives. Like, made it through to the final, so it's been a great week, I'd say.
A great week indeed all round. But what about the year ahead for the champion?
Got the rest of the year ahead of me to go and make hopefully have some more wins.